All right. And zero in, I'm going to make a movie. Good. Okay, we're back here and we got a real killer here. This is a real killer. And this is one where you really want to deconstruct where you're heading. In other words, I'm going to start with this complicated left side, but I've got a complicated right side too. And if I know that I'm heading towards something easy, it's a lot better. So I'm going to deconstruct this a little bit. I'm just going to draw an arrow down here. I'm going to change everything here to sines and cosines. The sine x over the cosine x over 1 over the cosine x. That's what this thing is where I'm trying to go. And if you notice what this is cosine x. If I can squeeze it all in, let me just draw an arrow down. This is really cosine x times sine x over cosine x. So look what I did here. I changed this tangent to sine over cosine. I changed the secant to 1 over cosine. And I used my little algebra stuff and I flipped it up. Now, of course, this cancels out and this equals sine x. What this says to me, that if I can get to sine x, then I can just multiply the top and bottom by cosine x and I can just work my way back, okay? So that's nice to know. What I really want to get to here is sine x. If I can get to sine x, then I can say it equals this, it equals this, it equals that. And I can move that way. That's why this is a real tricky one. So I'm looking at this thing and I say, well, what should I do? Maybe, there's two things I can do. I can change everything to sines and cosines, or I could split the fraction up, and I have no idea. I'm just going to split the fraction up and see what happens, okay? Remember, in algebra, that's one of our little algebra tricks. Minus cosine x over tan x. And I may or may not get to where I want to go. Let's hope I do. All right, well, now the only choice I have is to change everything to sines and cosines. And hope I eventually end up with sine of x, all right? So I have 1 over cosine over, long line, tan x. By the way, when you do this, you have to be careful with these fractions. This is the long line here to separate them, and this is sine x. I probably should have mentioned that. Cosine x. Now I've got this fraction over this fraction. I can flip it up, and I end up with, it appears I end up with, oh, I didn't do the minus, did I? Here, I got to keep going. I've got cosine x over sine x over cosine x, and this is the long line right here. And of course, this fraction is cosine over 1. This is like this. So let's see what I've got. If I've done it right here, I think what I've got is cosine x over sine x cosine x. I don't think this is going to get me where I want to go. Maybe this, maybe I really muffed it, right? And what do I have here? I have cosine squared x, okay, over sine x. Right, if I flip that over, I get cosine squared over sine x. And so here's what I've got. I see that this thing goes away, and this goes away. They cancel, right? I can't cancel anything, but I've got a common denominator, don't I? And this is 1 here. So I can write this as 1 minus cosine squared x, 1. I can put it back together because it has a common denominator. 1 minus cosine squared x over sine x. Okay, and of course this equals, 1 minus cosine squared x, that's identity number, fundamental identity number 6, isn't it? This equals sine x, sine squared x. And remember, sine squared x means squared over sine to the 1 power. I'm going to write it like this instead of the square there. And this will give me sine x. Boy, I got there. I didn't think I was going to make it. Now once I have sine x equals cosine x over sine x over cosine x, okay? Because right back here, right, I'm going this way with this thing now. Now this, I can divide, this actually equals sine x over cosine x, because I'm just going back with all the work we've already done over 1 minus cosine x, 1 over cosine x. Can you read it down there? Let's hope you can. All I'm doing is working my way back, and that equals tan over secant. Tan x over secant x. Now you might ask yourself, I never would have thought to do that. And it does take some experience. This is a very difficult one. But you will be able to do it, believe me. The trick is, you look at these, they're both complicated. If this were just tan x. You know, I wouldn't bother to do this, but since they're both complicated, I deconstructed it. And I made it, I went this way, and I found out, really, this is where I'm trying to, if I can get the sine x, then I can go from sine x to here, to here, to here, and I got it. And that's all I did. And it was kind of complicated to get to the sine x. There may be an easier way to do it. That just happens to be the way I did it.